We got a pretty good one planned for today. It is how do you chain published adventures together? They are public technically. You can access them. This actually came home to roost for me this week, because on Monday, we've reached a point in Stolen Fate where things are finally starting to make sense. You know, that's not the best time, 27 sessions in or whatever we're at. It's not the best time for things to start making sense. But Cadenex did say out loud, and I don't know if he was just being funny or supportive, but he's like, "Oh wow, so everything we did in the Cradle of Courts finally makes sense." And to me, I took that as a win, even if it was heavy-handed, because there's a lot of talk on our server about Outlaws of Alkenstar. A lot of people agree that it's a great campaign. It's a super cool setting, very original, right? Who doesn't like steampunk cowboy America? Like, oh, everybody loves that. But there is some agreement, which I would say unanimously, that the second book of the 3-book series doesn't really make any sense or need to be there at all. In that you travel to a location that has nothing to do with the campaign, and you do stuff that has nothing to do with the story of the campaign. And it's also one of the most infamous TPK locations of any published Paizo adventure. So like it's a real downer. It's a real downer. I remember doing prep for that campaign and being like, what am I supposed to do with the Cradle of Courts? It don't make no sense. And then I was like, I want to be a player in Stolen Fate. It's going to be fantastic. But then I didn't become a player in Stolen Fate, and I was like, well, I like Stolen Fate, so I want to run it. And then I said I like Stolen Fate in the same way that you think that you like the celebrity you have a crush on. You know, I was like, yeah, man, I would love to go on a date with Scarlett Johansson. I'm sure it'll be an amazing date. And then you find out that, you know, maybe it's not that great. You know, maybe the idea of Scarlett Johansson was great, and, you know, the actual reality wasn't. So then I'm reading Stolen Fate, and I'm like, this is really bad. But I've already told everyone I'm going to run it. And I was like, I've got this really bad campaign that's kind of on the cusp of being like a multiverse time travel adventure. Almost, right? And then I've got this other campaign that's got a side, just call it what it is, a side quest, a pointless side quest, that involves time traveling aspects, right? And then I saw it, the thread that I would use to sew those two. What does magic fortune-telling cards have to do with cowboys? I could have taken the angle of like, oh, well, we're going to have poker or Galarian poker be a big part of Alkenstar, right? They're going to be like, you know, there's going to be constant, and that would have worked for the one game with Stack the Deck, no problem, you know what I'm saying? But like have like a gambling aspect, and the cards kind of get pulled into that. That's kind of cool. But like, this was better. This was like a really cool way to enhance one campaign while salvaging the worst part of another campaign. So I was very pleased with how it turned out, and then this past Monday, having that kind of aha moment with the players where they're like, okay, it's all okay, I see how it is, I see why it all went down the way it did. That felt really good. And that's not the first time that I've been able to kind of sew two adventures together, or you know, chain two adventures together. And I think it's something that doesn't get talked about enough, you know?
And that's part of the reason why I brought it up, as like when we were trying to figure out what we want to talk about, is because I've seen you do it at least twice now. And so, at least recently, and you probably did it before. And so I've never done something like that. And so I wanted to like, okay, like, what are the things you look out for in like an AP, to like look at the two APs and you're just trying to figure out where you can connect them, and then like, there's probably tons of stuff that you can use to connect, but like, what makes you pick this thing over this thing? And And do you look at it in the NPCs? Do you look at it in what the actual, what the players did? What is it like? What are some of the things that you kind of helps you? Okay, this thing I saw in this campaign, this thing I saw in this game, this is where they should touch.
So step one is you have an adventure you want to run, but that adventure doesn't start until level X, and level X is not level 1. So good example, Red Hand of Doom. Red Hand of Doom, they're like, man, we don't got time for baby shit. Start this campaign at level 4 or 5, right? Yeah, and it's like, okay, why do we want to start at level 4 or 5? They're like, because we wrote this adventure for big boys, and all the fights are crazy, so just start at level 5, and like, get going. But like, for me, that adventure, it was a hard sell, right? To tell like a group of random 5th level adventurers, you guys are friends, you've all worked together, and you care about this town in the middle of nowhere so much that you're willing to go to war for them. Do you know what I'm saying? I felt like that's kind of a harder sell than having them start as people that live in the town, and then they do adventures to help the town. They get celebrated by the town, and then when it comes to the campaign starting, now they are motivated to protect their town, right? Because they've spent 5 levels. They grew up in that town, right? Could you take advantage of that and just put a level 1 to 5 pre-made campaign in front of it? Absolutely. A very popular one for people doing the 5th edition is you do the Lost Mines of Phandelver, right? Lost Mines of Phandelver. And then instead of the town being Drellin's Ferry, the town is Phandelver. So they swapped the whole fucking town out. They swapped the whole town out. They swapped the whole region out. And then the the hobgoblins replaced any mention of orcs in the original Phandelver. The goblins are affiliated not just with the baddies from that adventure, but they're also affiliated with the Red Hand of Doom. And then the BBEG of Lost Mines, their motivations are actually, they are a worshiper of whoever you decide the Red Hand of Doom is serving. It's very popular to switch Tiamat out for Bane, especially if you're doing a Forgotten Realms one, because there's already enough Tiamat shit happening in Forgotten Realms. So a lot of people will swap in Bane for that. Works really well. Beautiful. It's a beautiful connection between the two adventures. But yeah, you want to talk about how do you identify who to switch out, what to switch out. I mean, we're talking about scrapping the entire region of Red Hand of Doom so that you could start with Lost Mine of Phandelver. And then you got Phandalin as the main town. You got all the NPCs from Phandalin. It's a strong choice because Phandalin is so well developed now, 15 years later, that you have no shortage of shit to do and have for that region. The Sword Coast is overdeveloped. There's just a ton of content. So it actually makes, in my opinion, a much stronger game than just running Red Hand of Doom out of the book, or even running Red Hand of Doom the way I did it. Where I just, made up some like adventures for them to do between levels 1 and 5. It doesn't have the same strength because Red Hand of Doom is campaign separate. Like, it has no actual official campaign setting. So it can feel a bit disconnected from the rest of the D&D world. Whereas if you chain it to Lost Mines, you have a really strong start. Boom, you move into it. Some people have told me that Out of the Abyss, they use Out of the Abyss, and they changed the baddies in Out of the Abyss to be, which is just a wild campaign. Just a wild campaign. They try to chain Out of the Abyss into Red Hand of Doom, and then the idea is the people that were underground and they escape from Out of the Abyss, they know what's coming, ... and what's coming is the Red Hand of Doom. They're gonna come up out of the Underdark and start conquering the region. So that's another cool way to kind of chain them together. Yeah. So 5e is very rich with these level 1 to 5 adventures that can then be put into another adventure like further on. Pathfinder, right? They got a ton of like 1 to 10s into 10s to 11 to 20. So it's really about figuring out how to bootstrap these 2 adventures together, or in some cases 3 adventures together, to make like a bigger continuous adventure. And another thing that 5th edition Wizards of the Coast did is they were like, what if we took it to the next level? Check out our adventure anthologies. These are adventures that have nothing to do with each other. So Ghosts of Saltmarsh is like 8 or 9 adventures that only share the theme of water. Like, that is the only thing that they have in common. And so if you want to run a Ghost of Saltmarsh campaign, quote unquote, by the book, you have to make up like connections between all of the adventures.
I guess in that case, I guess I've done that. I've done something like that before, because that's how the pre-written adventure that I did for Cyberpunk was. It was just an anthology, a bunch of just quests.
Yeah, games. Absolutely.
And I think in that book only 2 of them were written to be together. Like, they were specifically like part 1, part 2. But everything else was just set pretty much standalone, and I had to try and figure out a way to get them to be connected to each other. So
So you have done it before. It's one of my favorite things to do as a DM, is to tie, like, to find a thread to tie these adventures together. It's easier than tying the player characters to the adventure. Now, obviously, peak dungeon mastering, right? The top of your game, you are able to weave each of the characters' 42-page backstories into each other and into the adventure. And then if you've sewn several adventures together, you've sewn the characters together, and then the characters and the adventure together. And it's just this beautiful tapestry of interwoven parts. The Burnt Offerings into 7 Dooms for Sandpoint, I think it might be maybe the easiest one I've ever done, because like it's literally the same guy like 15 years later. So James Jacobs or whatever, the Pathfinder guy, right? So he wrote Burnt Offerings. It was the first Paizo adventure for Pathfinder 1. But then it was also part 1 of 6 of the most legendary campaign of all time for Pathfinder, Rise of the Runelords, right? I don't want to run all of Rise of the Runelords. It's a level 1 to 20 first edition Pathfinder campaign. But I did want to run 7 Dooms for Sandpoint and have it make sense. And if you aren't a hardcore Paizo fan that knows all the lore of Rise of the Runelords, it ain't going to make any sense to play 7 Dooms for Sandpoint. I mean, it'll still be a fun dungeon crawl adventure, but it's not going to have that same nostalgia, right? Like when we were playing Wild Beyond the Witchlight, and I had to explain like so many of like the 2nd edition jokes and the 1st edition, Easter eggs. And at one point I had to show you that, Longhorn or whatever the hell his name was, Elkhorn.
Yeah.
He had it. He actually had an action figure. I'm not making this up. Yeah, he had an action figure. Yeah. So it was like, I didn't want to have to explain all the references this time around, and so that was a fun challenge. Was taking the adventurer's advice and running it 17 years ago, the original Burnt Offerings, but then truncating the Runelord's plotline. So basically, the Runelord's plotline never really pops off because my party is able to sort of castrate the plans before they even get off the ground by just doing the Burnt Offerings adventure. And so all of that lays like unfinished, which is kind of fun because now I can take some of the coolest parts of the entire Rise of the Runelords 6-part adventure, like super adventure, and I can pull some of the best parts and move them into 7 Dooms for Sandpoint to kind of, because they never got resolved in the past. So we kind of are building off of the beginning of Rise of the Runelords 17 years have passed, the world is at peace. Kind of feels like, you know what I mean? Where they're like, and then 17 years went by and nothing happened. And it's like, okay, that's cool. Also, a time skip that big, it does create a very interesting situation, right? Because your players are going to be like, 17 years and I didn't level up, you know what I mean? And so there's a certain amount of like buy-in that you need from the players. You need to be like, well, you just kind of have to accept that if you're playing the same character, they've been busy like just living a normal life, you know what I mean? So you're going to get that final level up from finishing the campaign, which will make you the right level to start the new adventure. But yeah, in 17 years, you really didn't gain any levels. Or they retire the character from Burnt Offerings, and then they play a new character that was trained by, or the child of, or inspired by their previous character.
Wildermyth.
Yeah, so I really love that. That sort of like time gap connection between the two. And as I am running Burnt Offerings, they're making decisions and they're doing things that are already making me go to the notes I've written to connect the two adventures and change those notes so that their choices are very much shaping how the two adventures are connected. But to talk about the process though, you find an adventure that starts higher than level 1, then you try to find an adventure that fills those gaps. And then maybe you already have a few adventures that you want to run. I know most GMs have like 10 adventures they'd love to run. So you look at how can I sew these two adventures together, and then a different use of the word sew. You look at how can I plant the seeds of the second half into the first half. That's where it really is important. In Outlaws of Alcastar, once I knew that people did want to play Stolen Fate, and it was just in time for Cradle of Quartz, I was able to drop those Harrow cards into the campaign. But because of the anti-magic nature of the campaign, nobody really embraced the cards too much. But the cards were there, right? The cards were there, and the cards were kind of hinting that something else was going to happen. There wasn't as many seed plantings in that as I would have liked. So instead, I went the other direction and I changed the second adventure, Stolen Fate, to feature as much crap as possible from the Alcastar campaign that was meaningful to the players during their playthrough. So it goes in both directions. When I ran, and I got on the screen here, when I ran Storm King's Thunder, which is maybe one of the best, if not the best, in my opinion, 5th edition adventure. Looking back, I really do think it was one of the best 5th edition adventures. This one starts at level 5 because you're fighting giants. You can't be babies. It's a big boy adventure. So what do you do for those first 5 levels? Well, Lost Mines of Phandelver. That's the one everybody wants to do. You do Lost Mines of Phandelver, and then Phandelver is one of the towns that is being attacked by the giants, and now you care about Phandelver because you just got done spending 5 levels protecting it. Maybe you built a house in Phandelver. Maybe you fell in love in Phandelver, right? There's so many guides out there of like how to chain those two adventures together, like how to put a couple of giants who got lost. And, you know, like a couple of giants for low-level adventures is insane. I remember when I ran Lost Mines of Phandelver, they ran into, I think, 2 hill giants, and it was almost a TPK off of 2 hill giants. So when we kind of rolled into the campaign proper of Storm King's Thunder, they already had like these formative memories that giants tough. Giants a hard fight. We're going to be fighting giants the whole camp. What were we thinking, right? So it kind of had that opportunity there. Also took the BBEG. The reason the BBEG is in the Wave Echo Cave or whatever is to find the MacGuffin that the fire giants need for the fire giant plotline. And again, there's like, you just kind of look at the adventure and you look like, hey, how can I seed this earlier on? How can I get this earlier on? And you don't want to be too heavy-handed. You don't want to be too heavy-handed.
Yeah.
But you do want to like make it feel like the two adventures were intentionally put together, right? You don't want it to just feel like, okay, well, we finished this, now we're going to do this, and it's two completely different things. Like you really do want to find a way to kind of marry those two adventures together.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Cool.
Yeah. The Pathfinder with the 10 and then 10, that does create some pretty wild combinations. I think that you could get.
I know, because I had played through Season of Ghost, and there was talk after we finished, while we were getting close to finishing Season of Ghost, to jump into Fist of Ruby Phoenix. But like knowing those two knowing like the themes of those two campaigns, like I didn't necessarily want to, take a character from Season of Ghost to Ruby Phoenix, because those two games just don't seem to mix theme wise well enough, even though they're in the same region in the setting. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for
sure. Because Season of Ghost is like a horror, like slice of life horror campaign where you guys are protecting your town from a disaster, and that disaster you're pretty much spending the entire time trying to fix this disaster that happened in your town, and then all right, at the end of that campaign we deal with this disaster in town. Let's go to a fighting tournament.
See, the fighting tournament as a plot device, right? If ever there was a campaign that it makes sense for you to start at a higher level, it's a campaign about the Mortal Kombat tournament. You know what I'm saying? It's a campaign about the greatest fighters in the world have come here.
Yes.
If I were running like Ruby Phoenix, right? If I was running a, Mortal Kombat tournament type thing, we would definitely not bother with factspirations. Like, it would definitely be backstory flashbacks before every session. You know what I mean? Like, we'd start at the level for the adventure, but every week we would learn about these fighters and their past. You know what I'm saying? As a kid, I'm old enough that I played the first Street Fighter. Okay, Street Fighter with no number after it. Okay. All right. I know. It's crazy. So I played the first Street Fighter, and then when Street Fighter 2 came out, it was like, oh my god, this is crazy. Anyways, in the 400 years since Street Fighter, I've gotten to know all these different characters and their different backstories, but they've always been level 10 or higher badasses. You know what I'm saying? Like, they've always shown up for work, right? They've shown up for the World Champions Tournament. It's in the name, World Champions Tournament. You're not level 1 if you're a world champion. So they always have these elaborate backstories, and you just get a little nugget every once in a while. You get a little hint.
Every game is like, a little hint of their backstory.
What was it like for this character? We don't know for sure. We're piecing it together. I feel like that's the perfect campaign for that, to have like these mysterious characters, and or you do the Smash Bros. Everybody's here method, right? Where it's like, bring in any character you've ever played for this Ruby Phoenix game. Like, any character from any world, from any game you've played in. I want to see you bring your favorite character to this fighting tournament. A character that you think would be a good fit for this fighting tournament. Or we can, come up with a plot reason why you're entering this tournament. That'd be kind of fun, too. Sort of like across all realms champions coming in. So that'd be a cool way. And that's another thing to think about. You don't always have to sew adventures together. Sometimes jumping in at level 10, jumping in at level 15. I mean, it's fine. Like, when we did the follow-up campaign for the 3 miniseries for Against the Giants, I was just like, anybody that wants to play can play. I'm going to give the original guys first dibs on seats, but like, if you want to jump in. And it's not like the Forgotten Realms has a shortage of high-level badasses. You know what I mean? So you're just like, I'm a secret agent that works for the Lords of Waterdeep. And it's like, oh, I'm a badass cyborg that, like, works for the Zentarum. You know what I mean? Like, boom, we're done. All right, let's go. Let's fight some giants. So there are opportunities where you don't need to, like, chain adventures together.
Yeah, for sure.
But there's also opportunities to chain adventures together that are all the same level. Right? Like, the best example, of course, is again Phandelver, right? You take everything Phandelver, The Lost Mines of Phandelver.
Lost Mine,
Ice Wing, yeah, Icefire Dragon. You smash that in there.
Below.
Yep. Yeah. You just Night Below. Oh man. So are you familiar with Night Below?
Oh no, I was talking about Phandelver and Below.
Phandelver. Oh, so Phandelver and Below. That'd be a third one, right? I thght you were referencing Night Below, which is such a badass second edition adventure. Oh my god.
I don't know. Oh man. Oh, okay. Now you gotta tell me about this.
Hold on. Yeah. Let me look it up. Night Below. I think it's called Night Below. Yeah. There it is. Okay. So Night Below, basically the premise is it's an Underdark adventure. You find a town having a rough time. They're next to an entrance to the Underdark. It's second edition. We don't know a lot about the Underdark. It's big spooks. It's scary, right? And so Diablo style, right? You have your dungeon town, and then you delving as far as you can, coming back up for supplies, delving as far as you can, coming back up for supplies. And of course, there's vampires down there. There's drow down there. There's Kutoa down there. There's worse than Kutoa down there. It's scary as hell. Every famous Underdark thing was in this adventure, and it was pretty incredible. Especially for the time. And it was a box set adventure too. It was a chonk boy. It was real big. It was a box set adventure. Fantastic adventure. Really, really cool. So, like, you could run that with Phandelver as the base town. You could have the ultimate. You could have the 3 Phandelver campaigns with Night Below as the all the way to 20 aspect of it. Yeah. Damn. That'd be pretty sick. And really, that would help Phandelver and Below, because I've heard Phandelver and Below doesn't make a lot of sense. And so this would kind of chain the Illithid parts of it together. So you would have to kind of work through it and be like, okay, so what's the dragon's motivation? Is the dragon just there? Does it have to be tied to the adventure? Like, why is the dragon in the region? You know, that kind of thing. Yeah. And it could be the dragon was lured to the region by the masterminds behind the, actual plot line as a distraction for the town and the adventurers, so that they could go about their business unhindered. So, like, you try to find these motivations and reasons why all your different adventures that you want to smash together make sense. If I did Ghost of Saltmarsh again, I don't think I would try to do it as linear as I did. I did it pretty sandbox when I did it, but I would definitely just scale all of the adventures to the party's current level, and then whatever order they did them in, I would just scale, up or down to match the level of the party. So it would be like all 9 things to do in the campaign would kind of be there from the get-go. And then how the party decided to go about it would kind of shape the pathway of the campaign, the course of the campaign. So I thought, another one that people try to chain together is Dragon Heist into
Mad Mage.
Into Mad Mage, yeah, Dragon Heist into Mad Mage, because you're already in Waterdeep. Makes sense. Blah blah blah. To me, it doesn't make sense, because if I got rich off of Dragon Heist, I'm out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, why are you going down into a Mad Maid's dungeon?
Yeah, like, it feels like the motivations behind, like, the people in Dragon Heist don't really.
You know what it is?
What?
Turns out that hidden treasure was the key to get inside the Mad Mage's dungeon.
Oh, there you go. There you go. And that's where the real treasure is, Winky Face. Yeah, the real treasure. Okay. So yeah, like, it does take a little bit of finagling. Dragon Heist is a tough one too, because it's technically 4 variations of a single adventure. And then there are people that try to run all 4 variations at the same time, which is kind of convoluted, but if you could pull it off, you pull it off. And then, of course, there's the fan version that you could pick up on the DM's Guild, which is Skullport Dragon Heist.
Yeah.
Now, Skullport Dragon Heist, to me, that vibes better with Mad Mage, because Skullport is in the Mad Mage's dungeon already. So like you already live there, you know what I mean? So now your idea of like the key, right? The treasure is actually like a key to like get further down in the Mad Mage dungeon, or it's something the Mad Mage is looking for, or now you've turned the Dragon Heist, which is actually the Skullport Dragon Heist, into this big campaign starting MacGuffin.
Yeah.
And so all of that is just like the tutorial mission. And then you finish Skullport Dragon Heist, the credits roll, but they're the intro credits, what? And now you start the actual campaign of Mad Mage's Dungeon. That's another great one. Yeah, so like, I love the challenge of trying to kind of strap this together. In the same way that Darby loves converting, like, first edition Pathfinder to second edition Pathfinder, I love trying to make these things fit together, you know what I mean, trying to find ways to sew them together. So yeah, it's good stuff.
Okay. Yeah I think I'm in that same boat, like thinking about it now, like just coming up with that key idea. And like I know with the like in Strength of Thousands, there's a lot of like disconnect between some of the book. I mean, the connection there is that, you know, you guys are part of the Magambia. This is a problem for the Magambia. You guys you're helping out this issue for the Magambia. But like trying to make sure they're all sort of linked together, and having to read ahead to see something so you can seed it in, and then like maybe changing certain things depending on what decisions people make there in one book prior to make sure that it makes more sense in the next book. I think I think it's the same sort of skill set in terms of mashing two separate APs together as well, especially since, you know, with Pathfinder APs, they're all done by different writers, so you kind of actually have to do a little work like that.
That's a really good point there. Like, Strength of Thousands is sold as a 1 to 20 continuous campaign. But anybody who knows what's up, you know that Pathfinder Adventure Paths don't have the same writers for every book in the series. And so if you don't have writers that are communicating with each other, you're going to often have this tremendous disconnect in tone, in feel. You're going to have incredible NPCs like Vashon Gattleby get introduced for one chapter of the first book and never mentioned again for the entire campaign. Like, it happens a lot. They're like, yeah, here's a really cool NPC. See ya. Guest star. One episode. They're done. To me, that doesn't world build well. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, world building is the world growing and building around you and the characters. And like, just throwing NPCs out because some other writer invented that one, and that's not the one that you want. You want your NPCs to be the star of the show in your book of the adventure. Yeah, so that's why, and it's hard advice. It's the hardest advice to follow. If you're gonna run a pre-made campaign, read the whole damn book. Read the whole. I'm sorry.
Not even read the whole book. Read all of the books.
Yep. Don't enter into a 6-book adventure path. Read the first book and be like, we'll figure it out as we go. Stolen Fate. There's shit, like, in book 3, they remembered that they only had 3 books, I think. And in book 3, they're like, oh shit, this is the last book. And then they explain, like, the whole game. Like, they explain the whole campaign, but they literally don't explain anything or talk about the bad guy or talk about the bad guy's motivations or anything until the last book. And it's like, if I'm running it one book at a time and never looking ahead, I'm right there with the players. I don't really know why we're here. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. We're here because I'm running this. Here's the next encounter, guys. You know what I mean? Like, that's rough. That's really rough. Yeah. One of the things I read when I was researching Stolen Fate is like, you should just talk about the bad guys. Like, from the beginning, like, they should know who the bad guys are. Like, they should have an idea that there are bad guys. You shouldn't just have these bad guys show up in the last chapter of the last book and be like, haha, I'm the bad guy.
I've been here all along, but just hiding.
So another good example is big ass adventures, right? So like, I would say that Kingmaker didn't have this issue because Kingmaker had the benefit of a remake of the original campaign. So they had 2 filtrations, right? They had 2 chances to really get it right. And I do feel that as a big ass book, it was still consistent all the way through. Odyssey of the Dragon Lords, no. Like, Odyssey of the Dragon Lords felt like it was written by every page, felt like it was written by a different person that hadn't read anything else in the adventure. It was bananas. There was no consistency across NPC behavior, locations, treasure,
I mean,
how being a Dragon Lord works. How the Oath of the Dragon Lords works. Like, with none of it made any sense.
Now I understand why you said don't worry about it.
Yeah, like none of it made any sense. And so like, you almost have to treat an adventure that big as a bunch of smaller adventures that have to be sewed back together. You really do. Because if you ran that one page at a time, one chapter at a time, it don't make a lot of sense. Curse of Strahd is a sandbox game. Chapter like 4 is Castle Ravenloft. Like, you can't run it in order, right? You know what I'm saying? Castle Ravenloft is the end of the campaign. You can't run the book in order. So you have to read the entire book, and then when you do, you realize that it don't make a lot of sense. And so you do have to find a way to kind of sew 14 chapters of very interesting, content into a real story, into an actual story. And so this isn't a problem that just happens when you have 2 adventures that you want to mix together. It happens anytime an adventure gets big enough, I think. Whether it's multiple books in an adventure path or just a real beef-ass adventure. You do have those times where it's like, wow, this doesn't make a lot of sense. Darby says, now to combine both worlds, remixing 2 PF1E adventures together.
Oh, man.
So,
okay.
There's so many good PF1E adventures, though. There's so many good PF1E.
Taking that, with Starfinder coming out, and they have. I'm looking at these 2. I'm looking at all their 1E adventures to try and figure out if there's something I want to run. There, and so I found the one that I want with the Space Truckers. But there's also one that is sort of the parallel to Kingmaker, where they go to a bunch of companies, send a bunch of teams, separate teams, out to an uninhabited planet for them to colonize it. Right, and so cool. there's that. That's another adventure too, and I was like, I kind of, maybe it's just my, me missing Kingmaker, but maybe I want to run that where they're going out and trying to colonize a uninhabited planet. Yeah. Dealing with all the weird aliens and stuff like that that's on there.
Then you're getting kind of the best of both worlds there, because you get the exploration and the kingdom building, and then also the sci fantasy.
Yeah, and then their truck. the space trucking is them, going back and forth for supplies and stuff like that. So. I'm thinking about it. Like I was looking at it, but it's really huge, and it's already enough work to just convert the other one.
Those kind of adventures are just nuts. All right, I'm looking at the Pathfinder 1E adventure pass. You got Rise of the Rune Lord, Curse of the Crimson Throne, Second Darkness, Legacy of Fire, Council of Thieves, Kingmaker, Serpent Skull, Carrion Crown, Jade Regent, Skull and Shackles, Shattered Star. Reign of Winter, which is the Baba Yaga adventure, Wrath of the Righteous, Mummy's Mask, Iron Gods. Iron Gods is on my bucket list for sure. Love Iron Gods. You could do
That's the giant robots, right?
Iron Gods
fighting giant robots.
Yeah, Iron Gods is like all about big spaceship that crashed, and there may or may not be like an AI god type thing, and it's pretty cool. Yeah,
I think that's also on Darby's bucket list too. So,
Giant Slayer, Hell's Rebels, Hell's Vengeance, Strange Aeons, In a distant land polluted by an alien menace from beyond the sky, the stars, a great cancer grows within the earth. Oh, that's kind of cool. Iron Fang invasion. Oh, the Iron Fangs. Yeah, okay. The ruins of Aslant. War for the crown. Return of the Rune Lords. Tyrant's Grasp. And then we switch over to 2nd edition. Huh. There's a lot of goodies there. Right off the bat, just right off the bat, I like the idea of, I love Reign of Winter. Like, Reign of Winter is cool. Baba Yaga, good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Could that be chained into something else? Let's see. Icy Curse, what links? Any truth behind the rumors that Witch Queen Elvana has taken full control of the realm? Can her plans for the Inner Sea be thwarted, or will the reign of winter engulf the world? I feel like you could probably combine that with Giant Slayer pretty easily. And just make the giants like Storm and Frost and Hill and everything just like teamed up with the ice threat, you know what I'm saying? If you wanted to like mash two together. Like that one right away kind of jumps out at me as being an easy one to do. Man. There's some real gems back in this edition. Let's see. I didn't actually know Wrath of the Righteous was a real campaign. I thought it was just a video game.
Oh no, it's a real one, yeah.
Dang. The world wound tore reality apart at the dawn of the Age of Lost Omens, murdering the nation of Sarkoris and unleashing a ravenous demonic horde upon the world. Is that what the orcs
it's
are
a really
dealing
cool present. I'm not. No, I think the orcs are dealing with a necromancer.
Oh, okay.
Like a big. What's his name? What's that guy name? He's like a famous necromancer in Pathfinder. Tarbafon, I think that's his name.
Oh yeah. I added him into Skull and Shackles because the ending of Skull and Shackles felt so low fantasy boring. They were like, no, it's just a drunk pirate. That's it. That's some main bad guy. He's just a dude, just a guy, just chilling, just vibing. And I'm like, I think we've gone too far and done too much for the final boss to be a regular pirate. But okay. Let's see. Man, this Strange Aeons, it's kind of calling to me a little bit. It's kind of calling. It's it's a Cthulhu adventure. Ooh, that's pretty cool.
Okay, hold on. That is okay. Strange Ions. Hold on, let me see. What is this?
I'm gonna be honest. I feels like Iron Fang Invasion is just Red-Handed Doom. That's what it kind of feels like. Listen. When the PCs witnessed their hometown of Fandar destroyed.
Fandar?
Just bear with me, okay? When the PCs Jesus Christ! All right, we can do this, man. When the PCs witnessed their hometown of Fandar destroyed in the first steps of an all-out war of conquest, they begin a quest that leads them from desperate survival to heroes of legend as they push back against the monstrous Iron Fang Legion. This ruthless army, helmed by Hobgoblin General Azarces, that's almost the same name as Shemaine. Okay, let's keep going. And empowered by an ancient artifact known as the Onyx Key, intends to reclaim both Nirmathis and Multhun, while the isolated nations bicker with one another. The hero's quest will take them deep into the Fey Forest, to the craggy bluffs of western Nirmathis, and deep delve into the earth to explore the Darklands. Can a small band of refugees grow into champions and push back the Azarces horde, or will the Iron Fang invasion give way to an Iron Fang nation? Bro. It's crazy too, because the Paizo guys wrote Red-Handed Doom. So they just rewrote their own adventure legally distinct. Come on now.
Yeah, that's probably why.
Jeez.
So they could have it
That's
legally.
like Taylor Swift redoing her music so that she could own it.
That's like Spacious Pouch, you know?
Jesus Christ.
It's Spacious Pouch, you know?
Man, that's hard to swallow. I've done Red-Handed Doom twice. I don't know if I could do Red-Handed Doom at home. This actually sounds like a better Red-Handed Doom. I'm big curious about this one now. I'm big curious about this one. Wow. Okay.
I'm looking through all the Starfinder.
Oh, Starfinder ones. Anything good?
So when you were talking about it was called Strange Ions.
Yeah.
There's one here called Against the Ion Throne.
Oh.
I wonder if they're connected.
That'd be kind of cool.
An ancient crash starship on the packed world colony in the vast attention of the sinister Atlantis Star Empire, who invades the annexed colony, removing any experimental starship drive, crash site, kidnapping one colonist. Heroes must liberate the colony from Atlantis occupation before venturing into mysterious Star Empire.
Yeah, is Atlantis still around in Starfinder? Of course they are.
Oh yeah, they're the Star Wars Empire
Incredible.
in Starfinder. They're like stormtroopers and everything.
Yeah, I'm in it now. Against the Aeon Throne, an ancient crash starship in the Pact Worlds. Oh. In the Pact Worlds colony in the vast draws the attention. The heroes must liberate the colony of occupation, Star Empire. That kind of sounds a lot like. It kind of sounds a lot like Iron Gods, just in Starfinder. But I'm waiting to see. Do they have Red-Handed Doom in Starfinder? Let's see. There's maybe
against the Swarm, Attack of the Swarm.
And you're doing Fly Free or Die, right? That's the one you're gonna start with.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, that's the one I want to start with. Yeah. But I was looking at it, but I'm also looking at Horizon from the Vast, and that's the one about the con. I didn't realize how much I would like exploration.
For Starfinder 1E, maybe Attack of the Swarm could be fun. Attack of the Swarm. The interstellar insectile threat known as the Swarm is driven by nothing but the desire to consume and expand. But when they strike at the peaceful Suskillian system in the vast, their behavior indicates they have a secondary motive beyond simple destruction. Can the heroes survive the invasion to become the reason behind the swarm, and discover the reason behind the swarm's attack on their home system? So this is Red-Handed Doom Starfinder. You found it. You found it, Darby. So the planet, Fandarlon. The planet Fandarlon is under attack from the Red Swarm of Doom.
Oh no. Whenever they show the Vast, they always color it in red. So.
Oh, amazing. This actually looks pretty cool. I don't want to spoil the whole thing, but there is a space Hydra on the cover of one of these books, which is always good to see. Oh my God, it's got halos on each of its heads. I'm kind of sold just on the angelic space Hydra. That's pretty fucking cool. Dang. Wow. Darby, you gotta quit your job and just go work for Paizo. Get these guys to get back to their first edition roots, bro. Like, you gotta, renaissance this shit. You know what I'm saying? Bring it back. Like, this modern era, these adventures are soft, guys. I'm just saying. Like, modern adventures are soft. These old adventures, they were crazy. Okay? They were crazy. Man. Huskworld. Oh, that's a cute little bug. He's got little goggles. Even though his eyes wouldn't fit in the goggles. The aesthetic of Starfinder fashion is like, it better not make sense. It better not make sense. Are you wearing clothes that make sense? Disgusting.
Why is there a little bug person wearing, like, he has like a belt with like and everything?
It's a mess. The Devastation Arc. The discovery of a series of millennia-old ruins sets off a chain of events that puts an ancient Titanic spacecraft, there's a lot of these ancient spacecrafts, on course to the Pact Worlds. When the vessel, which belongs to an evil, warmongering civilization long thought dead, begins destroying all their ships in its path and attacking important resources to increase its power, the heroes must rescue millions of lives from destruction. Wait, the campaign's about stopping an unstoppable sentient ship? That's pretty fucking cool.
Wait a second. Is this the Mass Effect thing we were looking for?
I mean, I'm kind of feeling the Xenogears. Remember, the main boss of Xenogears was an evil AI that they were transporting on a ship, and then it crashed the ship into the planet, and then colonized the planet with itself, making human beings out of nanomachines. Anyways, it's just such a good game. But like, evil ship, man. Event Horizon, another evil ship storyline. Man, Devastation arc. Okay, it's only 3 books long, dude. Oh shit. When the heroes rescue a xenoarchaeological team from weather gone haywire on a distant frozen world, they learn more than they bargained for as an ancient ruin rises from the ground, kicks off a series of events that could change the face of the galaxy forever. That sounds dope as hell. Sounds dope as hell. Holy shit. Devastation arc is now on my radar because that is really cool. How did we end up shopping around for Starfinder Adventures? We're supposed to be talking about, what was the topic here? Sewing together adventures.
Sewing together adventures. Oh, but yeah, we could. You know what we could do here? I feel like in some of these
make
cases,
this the plot of my Voltron game. No, maybe.
I mean, hey, you could. Yeah, it could be a side. It could be a side quest of your Voltron game.
Or the only way to stop the Devastation arc is with Voltron.
Is by Voltron.
Yeah, you need Voltron to stop the. You need the weapons of their ancient enemy who are good. And since those guys are evil, now you gotta have good to like balance it out. So you gotta go get the 5 good kaiju robots.
You can go get the kaiju robots from the Mecha.
Devastation arc is the pre-story to Iron Gods. Are you fucking serious right now? All right, hold on.
Wait, it is?
My mind is getting blown right now. Is Iron Gods only 3? No, Iron Gods is 6 books with a lot of oh my god. Darby, you still converting this? Look at how much shit there is to convert. You converting all this still? Dang. Oh wow. So wait, is this implying that Devastation arc ends in failure? Because like, if the Devastation arc makes it a Crash Lands at Galarian, then I feel like it didn't go so well in that 3. Oh, you already finished converting Iron Gods? Dang, bro. Okay. Wow.
I know. I remember Darby talking about Darby and you both talk about Iron Gods the same amount.
Yeah, so, Iron Gods is definitely, man.
So one of you's gonna run it, the other one's gonna be in it. I'm pretty sure.
I mean, either one works for me. It's such a cool story. Oh man. Though I feel kind of bad playing in it because I kind of know the plot, so it's like, I mean
that hasn't stopped Darby playing in Odyssey, you know.
That's true. That's true. And Wes played in Curse of Strahd, even though he, knew Curse of Strahd. You know, he was a really good player about it. Didn't spoil anything for anybody. So
yeah.
There is kind of a secret joy in knowing that your friends are about to kill themselves and not being able to stop them contractually. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Mm-hmm. That is actually fun for me. So it's like the best part of being a DM, but you're also a player. I don't care about that. I know you don't care about spoilers. You sick man. But spoilers, I mean, it's one of the few surprises we have left in this world. You know, you don't want to lose that, man. Devastation pre-story. Isn't Iron Gods about a ship crashing? Yeah, I mean, I like the implication there for sure that the original Devastation arc adventure ended in failure. What are the this came out in 2024. Devastation arc came out in 2020. So, are they retconning? Are they like, how did the ship get there? Or maybe they're just saying that like the ship that was there is like one of these ships. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, maybe you stopped it but it still crashed, but you were able to stop the main thing.
Well, that's the big lore question too. Does Starfinder happen before Pathfinder or after Pathfinder?
It's supposed to be after,
right?
Yeah,
it's supposed to be, but time is a pizza.
But the way they kind of get around it is they saying what happened to Starfinder is there was the gap which is like a period of time where no one has any memory of what happened there. It was a Galarian, then the Gap, and all of a sudden there's a space station in space, and everybody has the ability to space travel and stuff like that.
That's very Mass Effect. Yeah. Dude, I can't stop thinking about Devastation Arc now. Only 3 books. That's pretty.
It's 3 books. It's 3 books, but what's the level range on these books?
Oh yeah. Okay. I wonder if I have these books. Hold on. Because you know they do those humble bundles all the time. Yeah. Let me see. Waking the World Seed, which also sounds like a Korean porn comic, but you know, whatever. Let's see. Waking the World Seed. I don't have it. So let's see. Devastation Arc. What is the level range of Devastation?
13th, I think it says.
No. It begins at 13 and concludes at 18. Oh, baby. Oh, wow. You want to talk about chaining shit together? Oh, ho. Okay. Let's see.
Maybe Iron Gods. Then you get the technology after finishing Iron Gods and go find the source, which is the ship that's about to crash down.
That's pretty sick. But the ship is in the future, but you're in the past, but time is a pizza?
No. Oh, make it so, you know, the first ship that crashed was the smaller one. And they're getting the place ready for when the big one comes through. It colonizes the galaxy, and then you guys go out. And that, you know, and after you finish Iron Gods, you know, you take the technology to make your Voltrons, and your Voltrons go into space to stop the.
I'm kind of into it. Whoa. What about this? All right, so Iron Gods runs level 4 to 16. Okay. But you could scale it. You could scale it back. And then you find the lions, right? You find the lions during that adventure. And then you have to, like, go to the future to, like, stop the devastation arc using what you found in the past. You know what I'm saying? So, like, the whole thing was a setup from the future to bring heroes and technology forward in time to defeat a challenge that they weren't able to defeat without it. Okay. Though I'm kind of loving the idea of running like a higher level, like, limited series. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Kind of nuts to jump into Starfinder 2E converted, and then you're like, yeah, we're starting at level 13, y'all. Like, kind of spicy.
Yeah.
I mean, the math is tight in Pathfinder, right? Same with Starfinder.
So
you would assume, and
most people are still familiar enough with Pathfinder that jumping into Starfinder at that high level is not going to be too bad. You know, there's going to be a lot of new content, but you're going to be figuring out the new content, not necessarily figuring out how the content works. You know?
Yeah. Dude, that sounded pretty cool. Like 3 books, 5 levels, high level play. I mean, take the same advice that I had earlier, that you don't always have to strap campaigns together to fill the gaps, and just, instead of the Factspiration question, at the beginning of every session, somebody does a little bit of backstory to share with the party about why their character's level 13. What are they bringing to the table? Why are they tied up in all this? Man, that's pretty cool. I wonder how much these cost. You have to figure out how.
$20 each.
$20 each. Dang, this looks really cool. Well, all right, we're at time. At time. Man, mine's racing. So as you can see, there's a ton of pre-published adventures, and if you're willing to combine older editions and different games together, you could be strapping 5e adventures onto first edition Pathfinder adventures. You could be strapping second edition Pathfinder adventures onto, I don't know, World of Darkness adventures. Yeah, I'm in.
I'm on my mind right now. I'm cooking up, like, I want to try and see if I can do like a Pathfinder into Starfinder adventure.
Oh, doesn't Colville have an adventure lookup program? Let's see. Matt Colville adventure lookup. Yeah, adventure lookup. Here we go. Wow. So, like, there's this service where you can just look up, like, every adventure. So 3,405 adventures are in this archive. So you could use adventurelookup.com to find adventures that fit the theme that you're looking for, the levels that you're looking for, the level ranges that you're looking for. You know what I'm saying? I think it covers Pathfinder, OSR, 5e, AD&D, and 5th edition. Oh, and 4th edition, and Pathfinder 2e, and Draw Steel, and Dungeon Crawl Classics. Wow, holy shit! What a resource. I haven't used this in a while. I used to use this when we did Season 1 Paradise Vale, because we were always looking for content. And what we would do is hexes would just be like old 1st and 2nd edition adventures. We would just take 1st and 2nd edition one-shots and be like, if you go to this hex, what's happening in this hex is this old 1st, 2nd, and I think we were doing 4th edition one-shots also. We're like, this is what's happening in this hex. And it actually worked really well to just be like, yeah, like, just plug in this adventure. Like, here you go. This is what's happening on this hex. Damn. Okay. Yeah, I'll shoot you the link when we're done. I also put it in chat.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I see it. I got it.
Well,
all right. Awesome.
Man, creativity is flowing. All right. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Dom, it's always great to hang out. This is a fun thing to talk about. Even though we got way off track, I think we brought it together at the end there. And discovered some extremely cool adventures to add to the bucket list of adventures to run.
Yep.
All right, everybody in chat, hope you have a great weekend. We've got tons of games going on the server nonstop. We got Extra Life coming up in 2.5 months. If you want to be a part of that, please reach out to me. We have plenty to do. We have plenty of things that you could help out with. Otherwise, everybody, we'll see you next time.
Alrighty. Take care.